All right, so one of the other major theories that we can see within the overarching theme of behaviorism is with social cognitive theory. All right, so the main researcher here is Albert Bandura, and what he proposes is that we see changes in behavior as a result of our observations of other people. Right, so basically we see other people behaving in a certain way, we see how they respond in different situations, the different things that they do, and then we choose to model ourselves after that person. Right? So you'll see this a lot with children and their parents. Right? So there's a reason that most kids tend to act like their parents do, right? So they look up to them. They're their first role models in life. Right? So these are who they take their cues from. And so for better or for worse, children will act a lot like their parents. Okay? So this whole idea, though, we can kind of run with that with the example of role models, right? So the different role models we have in life influence our behavior, and again, it's whether we realize it or not. Sometimes we're very conscious and like, I like what that person did, I like that, and we try to do that thing. Other times it's very subtle. We don't even realize that we have started to shape and change our behavior so it matches that other person. Okay? So as we look at kind of the lifespan of things, very first few years of life, those first 5 years, your primary role models, again, are your parents, right? We can add in other significant family members like aunts and uncles, grandparents, things like that, but it's basically family members that you have the most contact with. That's generally what we're seeing. When we get to around age 5 or so, all we're going to do is we're going to keep those previous role models, but we're going to expand it out to other influential adults, right? So this is when we're starting school. So we're going to add in teachers and principals and things like that. This is also when you might start playing sports, so we can add in coaches or anything that you engage in. These are other significant adults outside of family that can also be role models for you. Okay? Then when we get to adolescence, we see a little bit of a shift, and we take more cues from our peer network rather than adults. All right, so we are very susceptible to peer pressure at this time. And for better or for worse, whatever our friends do, that tends to be what we do as well. Okay. What we also see is that when it comes to role models, sometimes we have role models for people who aren't even real. Right? This is what we call symbolic modeling. So this is a fictional character, either from a TV show, a movie, literature, whatever it is, and you look towards that person as an example, and you take kind of cues for them. Right? So if we look at it within teaching and learning, we look at education overall, like what are some of those classic TV shows or movies where there's this quintessential teacher? Like this is the perfect example of how you picture teachers being, right? Whether it's Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World, Mrs. Frizzle from Magic School Bus, whatever it may be. These are not real individuals, but we like their approach to teaching, and what can we learn from that? As we consider this, we're more likely to change our behavior to match someone else's. We're more likely to take this observations and actually do something with it. It's more effective when 3 things are present. All right, so number one, whoever it is that we're looking up to, that role model, they're more similar to who we are. Right, so we can almost like see ourselves in that person. Right, so the more similar that person is, the more we can see ourselves in them, then it's more likely that we'll model our behavior of them. Number 2, how competent do we think they are? Right, is this someone who knows their stuff? Right, do they know what they're talking about? Are they good at what they do? Whatever have you. All right, so the more competent a person is, we see that we're more likely to say it works for them, probably work for me too. Right? And then the third one is this one's not always there, and it maybe isn't as strong as the other two, but if this person has some kind of high status, right? So this is your boss at work, this is a teacher in a classroom, they have a status, they have a position of authority, and so a lot of times we do take our cues from that person. However, what we can also see is that sometimes we give proper respect to someone because of their position, but not necessarily because of their competence, right? So we might listen to them because they have power over us or in their position of authority, but we might also think that they're an idiot, to put it pretty bluntly. And if that's the case, then we're not likely to follow their behavior in that moment. So we kind of need all three of them. The more similar the person, the more competent they are, if they have some kind of higher status over us. Those are the reasons that we might model our behavior after someone else. And so for teaching and learning, kind of what we've mentioned a few times is we want to be that model and example for our students, right? If we want to instill positive qualities, things that are going to help them be good in the classroom, but then also be successful in life, it starts with us, right? They're going to take their cues from us, and so we want to make sure we're setting the best example possible for them.